Greetings, fellow citizens of White Pine Bay. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to Talking Mrs. Bates, the show where we check into the Bates Motel.
But we don't always check out.
It's Andy Dragon. It's so sad. I'm talking to you with a maniacal laugh. I'm going to cry.
Why does it have to be over?
Dragon, unfortunately, that catchphrase is going to have to be a little ironic tonight, folks, because, oh my God, Dragon, we are checking out of the Bates Motel. That's what we are here to do. We are checking out, folks.
I never thought the day would come. I never thought it would come.
We are talking through the series finale entitled The Chord. Absolutely no time to waste, Dragon. Let's dive right into this and be as quick and thorough as we can because we've got a lot to go over. So
I remembered something that we forgot, so we're going to have to wing it towards the end, but we'll go forward.
Oh, so, okay, wait. For the last time, Dragon, let's start this off good.
Previously at Bates Motel.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Thank you. Oh, you're quite welcome, Tiki. Previously on Bates Motel.
All right, Tiki, the camera is locked, correct?
I believe so, yes.
I just want to make sure. So, just want to make sure this last one goes all nice and smooth like. So, we pick up with the road trip from Heck. Let's not forget what kind of kicked it off when I kind of called the Romero breaking Norman out of
Norman out. You called like every detail of it, yes.
Of course, we had this wonderful moment. Passing by, hello, Norman. Again, he showed up when he least suspected it. Romero, Truth in Advertising with Alex Romero. So again, Heck with Regina driving. You know, Romero's the office, kind of the office. Since she runs the front desk, she's the office worker or something. I forget what the official title is.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, so Norma, because bear in mind, Norma is still down for the count. He's still sleeping.
Of course.
Norma is directing Romero to the location of Norma's body. That's where we left the last episode. Regina is an emotional wreck and is begging. Again, if Paul Rudd was in the car, I'm sure everyone would be a lot happier. But she's an emotional wreck. She's begging Romero not to kill her. Again, it's kind of a payoff of everyone being paranoid when Romero carjacks people.
And I love how Norman in mother mode is being very comforting to her. She's like, "Oh, slow down, dear, slow down."
I love that Norma is genuinely considerate to Regina, calming her and directing her to the turnoff. Where again, otherwise with Romero, again, Norma's being really glib and really undermining him, saying like, who's like she's saying, "What happened to you?" Romero like, "Hey, no one's deranged." Like, "Oh, someone's deranged."
Sure.
Well, basically, like that's Alex, you lost your mind. No, I haven't. Oh, that's debatable. So let's see. So and then again, so then they reach the turnoff. Romero just gets completely ticked off at the sniveling Regina. Just she's just begging to be. She's begging for survival and just thinking she's convinced that Romero is going to kill her. Again, Romero, the same thing from the previous car, right?
The thing that Romero could have done is just been like, "Look, Regina, I'm here to kill him, not you. All right, you're fine. You're fine." Yep. You would have given her the courtesy of that.
Yeah, and again, it's like the previous time we kind of kidnap someone in a car. Just like there's no indication he's gonna hurt someone. He's being really civil with them, but everyone's just panicking. He's that intimidating, I guess. He is intimidating. So anyway, so she's convinced Romero's gonna kill her, and Romero just gets really pissed off, and he tries convincing her that, okay, you'll be fine, just walk down the road, you'll be fine. And he says, I'll get the hypothermia. Well, then walk fast.
You've got a good coat. You'll be fine, all right?
His love, again, we see Romero's patience wearing things. It's like, well, walk fast, and you have a coat, you'll be fine. Then he just gives up. It's sort of, go before I change my mind. He's just so darn ticked off there. Now, again, initially, you and I, we thought Norm was going to be a little bit more flirty with Romero. That was not the case. We were expecting a little bit of this.
Hi, how's it going?
did not exactly pan out.
I'm kind of glad it didn't pan out that way, though, to tell you the truth, because I feel like I don't know, Dragon. I honestly, like, we were promised a lot of comedy this episode. I don't really think we got a lot of comedy.
There is dark comedy in this, though.
There is, but I think this episode, more than anything else, is just, like, tragic and very, very, very sad, which I think is incredibly fitting for a series finale like this.
Maybe they meant, like, 9 and 10, and 9 was more on the nose funny, and this is more dark funny. Maybe that's what
I guess so. I guess.
I mean, it's still, again...
Because you're absolutely right. 9 is definitely more on the nose funny.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So again, they... pull off, then walk fast. Then she tries. I love what ticks him up. I was like, this. She gives him the "this isn't who you are, Alex."
right.
And then he says, "Go before I change my mind." That's the thing that ticks him off. Okay, God, I don't have time for these emotional scenes. Get out of here. Get out of here. It's the last episode. Get out of here.
It's the series finale. Yeah, we've only got a half hour left. Come on. You're a bit player.
It's like I just think what's just really taking him off is the fact that like. She's not afraid of Norman, but she's more afraid of Romero. He's getting the villain rap after Norman's killed Norma. It's like, where's the justice?
Right.
I go down for a perjury charge, and it's rigged. So Romero grabs Norman by the neck, and again, I love this device of, again, always the threat of suffocation.
Mm-hmm.
Romero grabs Norman by the neck, and Norma, more specifically, is playing mind games with him about potentially lying, and you better not be lying. And of course, then she's in line and saying, okay, we'll drive up the road. Basically, they got to drive up the road further so they can be in the area in the woods where Norma is buried.
Mm-hmm.
Which amazing recollection on Norma's part, by the way, because I mean, snow covered. It's the woods.
It is.
Yeah. Good on them. So then, oh boy, we have someone who really swung really hard trying to steal Highmore's Emmy this episode.
Oh, I think he might have, I don't know. Throughout the season, this guy's been in the shadows, much in the shadows, like
a young Bruce Wayne.
Oh, first of many, here we go.
So, again, in the vein of a kind of Zero year, the Batman Zero year where Gordon and Bruce don't get along.
I'm going to count that again.
Sheriff Green, she's reviewing Romero's escape on camera, which is kind of like a fun little acknowledgement of, oh yeah, that's what happened.
By the way, I've gotten such amusement out of your hypothetical, like, hey, Norman, we just all want to come in and show our support for you. We're all behind you, Norman.
Because Green is really anti-Norman this episode.
I just want you to know, I've been thinking about that a lot, and it's given me quite a few chuckles over the past week.
Anyway. We're pulling for you, Norman. You know what? We'll sneak you some cake, and we can't tell you when, but we'll sneak you some cake and wrap it up in some foil, maybe a little bit of milk. No promises on the milk, but we'll get you some cake. So, okay, in all seriousness, this again, as the sheriff's reviewing the footage, then Dylan arrives.
Oh yeah.
Then basically she kind of recaps what happened at the end of last episode, kind of breaks the news to him, and then Dylan, understandably, is upset that his brother, who not only has a major arch enemy, but is also mentally a danger to himself and others, and of course, not in favorable ways with the sheriff's department. Dylan's understandably upset. It goes a little something like this, a little conversation here.
Your brother Norman was kidnapped from the police station by Alex Romero. How the hell did you let that happen? He also took our office manager, Regina, took her hostage. So this isn't just about Norman. Sit down. Do you have any idea where Romero could take Norman? You want my honest opinion? He took him somewhere to kill him. Okay, now I don't know if that's the woods or if that's Norma's grave. I don't know. This is insane. Norman is sick. Okay, he needs psychiatric help. Did you forget your brother has been charged with multiple murders? So that means you don't care if something happens to him? The person I care about the most is Regina Worth, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get her back safe. You better not let anything happen to him. He's a suspect. He hasn't even been convicted.
Really strong Dylan scene. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'd also just want to point out Dylan doing the the heavy lifting detective work of reasoning. He calls exactly what's happening with Romero. Much like a young Bruce Wayne would.
One could label him world's greatest, but I won't split hairs.
Also, Sheriff Green's a piece of work at this point, is she not?
She is. Yet at the same time, again, I don't think she's like slipped into her usual kind of like we usually have like season, a season unlikable in Bates Motel.
Yeah, I
not
don't
always.
think she's.
Not always.
I don't
but
think
like
she's
like
what was the girl?
Rebecca. She's no Rebecca.
She's not Rebecca bad, absolutely not. But she is a piece of work. She is a piece of work, though.
Because again, she's really just making out. Regina is the predator, which technically, I mean, I understand where she's coming from on that. Okay, Regina
but
is.
You don't. It just bothers me because
she shouldn't make it like outline that we're only protecting one person out of these three. That's not.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
And that kind of plays into the whole how kind of like the sheriff's department of White Pine Bay goes outside the rules a little bit. So in this case, it's like she's being very kind of obvious with what's going on there.
And of course, one more dragon, one more. Dylan taking the law into his own hands, much like
a young Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
But just without coining the reference again, but to be serious about Dylan in this episode, what I love, as we're going to get through the episode, I love that in this scene, especially in the rewatch, Norman's life is placed in Dylan's hands. Dylan is that's what this episode is really building to. It's going to be Norman's life in Dylan's hands. He's the only one who has his best interests at heart here, and he wants to help his brother as he have. And again, this episode makes me really appreciate one for the fact that we didn't spoil everything in the trailer. Secondly, for the fact that basically the shot where Dylan is throwing Norman in the car. I'm so glad they got rid of that shot because every scene Dylan's had with Norman has always been in support of Norman. It's never been antagonistic.
You know what? You're absolutely right because that was kind of a big confrontation we were kind of building towards. And if we had that in hand, I don't think this finale would have been as emotionally effective.
Well, it doesn't mean that. I'm saying if they put that in the season at some place, it would have been, but then they had that one scene. It'll be in the back of our mind. But thankfully, again,
of course.
So again, the point is Norman's life, Dylan's hands. Let's see. Again, he points out the whole suspect thing. Meanwhile, back on the Happy Drive, Norman and Romero arrive at their destination, and Norma points out, if I love they point out the logic because I was thinking about this in the episode. Well, why on earth is Norma directing him if she's if she knows she's going to be killed by Romero, which we know absolutely Romero intends on killing Norma because he said he wants to put a bolt in his brain.
Mm-hmm.
Quite literally, we don't want to say what he wants to do with the brain hole, but you get the picture. So, because I mean, like, you think at a certain point Norma would just say to him,
"They will just sit here then, I guess."
Because he's not going to take him anywhere. But then, no, seriously, then Romero. I love that they address this in the episode there, where Romero kind of outlines after a conversation with himself, which puts off Romero hilariously. It's kind of funny that Romero.
And it's also cool because it's one of the few times in the series where we actually see Norman kind of talking with himself and seeing that from someone else's perspective.
Which I want to say, my little theory would be that because things are getting so kind of, I don't want to say like realistic, but things are getting so like kind of do or die for Norman in this situation. I think it's basically his mother has to reassure him so thoroughly that it's kind of breaking the illusion that they usually have where they kind of have these conversations inside. It's kind of wearing kind of their usual wherewithal,
Sure.
So basically, it's like that's why like kind of they can't really keep it all in the head because it's just they're so desperate at this point. So then, as Norman's reassuring Norman, he was like basically kind of talking to him in his sleep because he's still not awake yet. Just to be clear, it's like just kind of trying to keep him still dozed off, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Romero weighs in like so.
Would it shock you to know that I'm not Norman? That he isn't here and that you can't touch him? It's very familiar about it all, are you? Why should I tell you where she is if you're only going to kill me anyway? Did you think about that, Sheriff Lonelyheart? I don't know what can I say. Takes his mother's body out of the grave and moves it around, and I don't want to know about it or what you did to it. All I can tell you is I can shoot you once I find her and make it quick and clean, or I can make you suffer. And believe me, I got ideas. But until then,
Okay, so first off, I was really shocked because when this aired on A&E and not on the website, oddly enough, on A&E they got away with the F-bomb.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Really nice.
That's a
nice.
rare. Better Call Saul hasn't even gotten them. They're their own AMC. They get away. If you air at a certain time at night, you can get away like pretty much everything but the F-bomb. My God, they got away with the F-bomb. It's at first on cable television.
Well, props to Bates Motel. God bless America.
And I got to tell you, I would say that is legitimately the most intimidating Romero threat we've gotten. We've gotten some good ones over the years, but I think that one's kind of the best one. Like,
I love the Captain Lonely Heart or the Sheriff Lonely Heart.
Yep, and then of course that gets a strike from Romero, which kind of reminded me a little of what's going on the inside. This would sound like this. Oh God, I love that sound effect. But in all seriousness though, so you gotta imagine. Again, we still don't get like any of Norma trying to schmooze over Romero. They're pretty firm with where they stand with each other. You don't have any scenes like this, as funny as they may be.
Do you still like me?
Yeah, none of those scenes necessarily.
Oh Jesus Christ! Wow, that was a while ago.
Yeah. Because again, we built that, she might have some feelings for Romero, but again, Romero's truly threatening Norman. So we see where Norma comes down at the end of the day. She's going to do whatever it takes to protect Norman. So, but again, I just love how broken and how kind of desperate Romero and later on Norman will be because of Norma at the root of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he has ideas. There's the torture Norman. He's been stewing on this for 2 years.
Oh, and we know he has.
Oh yeah. So let's see. So, by the way, so this next scene, I want to point this out. This scene is shot as close to black and white as you can get while still being in color.
Nice.
So it's kind of I always hope that the ending of I always predict that the end of Bates Motel would be in black and white, kind of like how we opened on the black and white kind of movie plan.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm saying that's really cool. That in the last episode we do kind of get as close to black and white as we can. Just kind of neat,
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So then, like I said, now Romero's leading the charge, forcing him out there, and Norman's like slipping and sliding. I think he's just knocking him around a little as he's looking for the grave. And then they find it, and boy, is it a somber scene.
Yeah, and Nestor Carbonell's like, move over, Max Terry, and I'm gonna get in on some of that Emmy action.
Yeah, I love the soft spokenness of Romero here because again, it's just so darn broken. Where he's just he's saying like, "Why did you stop?" Again, he's not being uber threatening in the moment, but he's asking, and then he's digging the body up, and oh god, we get speaking of the black and white and the faithfulness of Psycho. This is the closest they could the closest you could do humanly possible, still having Vera Farmiga play Mother from Psycho because they gave her the dark circles around the eyes, they gave her the opaque lenses, and she's really gray in the skin here. So
it's a good effect of like kind of the the decay that would go on.
I mean, short of her mouth being open, this is the closest you can if you can feasibly get it with that still Vera Farmiga. Still having Vera Farmiga play it.
Yeah. All right. Give me but let's go forward. I'll get that sign.
Okay. Let's see. So anyway, So she's dug up, and of course this affects Romero a great deal. And then Norman says, I believe that Norma offers genuine sentiment here. I really do believe this one.
I do think so too. Yeah, I believe it. For sure.
Yeah, saying, I know you loved her very much. And you got to remember why this line hurts, because of Norma not being able to accept that that's why Norma died in the first place. And Romero knows it because he's been mulling on this for 2 years as well. So again, Norma, offering genuine sentiments, which in a twisted way is nice, but at the same time, really wrong time too soon, Norma. Come on. You're standing in front of your own dead body. Come on. And let's see, Romero does not take that well. Scene goes a little something like this. Just imagine a lot of violence, a lot of blood as the hits are being struck. You're in the white snow. Okay, it goes a little something like this.
I'm so sorry for everything. I know how much you loved her.
Oh boy, and something to highlight too is that in this scene, as in many points in the episode, the framing in this episode, Tucker Gates did an outstanding job, and it's appropriate that Tucker Gates, the first director of the first Bates Motel episode, directed the last episode.
It is very
with Carrie Aaron writing as well. So again, same team as the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we had some great shots, like like Norman's bending down behind Romero, offering the sympathies while he's kneeling down. Norman's by a fantastically composed shot, and then of course he just beats him mercilessly, blood in the snow. And then again, I love that in the end, Romero's devotion to Norma is what kind of leads to his end here. Where basically he's taking in the horror, and he's so distracted by Norma's body there, and just kind of having been defiled in such a way. He's distracted. He's off his game. He made a fatal error, and I called the minute that, basically as it was unfolding in the scene, I realized, oh god, with his back turned like that, he's the dead man. He's gonna die.
But yeah, it is very fitting. You're right, and I didn't even really notice this in the moment, but yeah, he really does just, it's his devotion to Norma. He's like, let's get you out of here. Like, he can't bear to see her like that. And that's ultimately why he doesn't finish the deed, what he was, focused so heavily on throughout this whole season on doing.
Which, again, I love that. I'll hit upon this more towards the end, but the idea that the men who are truly in love with Norma all become broken. They all become, their sanity, gets shattered, and they all just become broken in their devotion to her. With Caleb, Norman, and Romero, those three guys. Right. And I think just to hear the woman herself kind of give a little view on that real quick.
Yeah, it's like kindergartners, man. They just pick on me. They're really mean to me. It's the only one explanation. They both have insane crushes on me and don't know how to handle it.
So we prolonged it enough. As much as we don't want to say goodbye, we got to say goodbye to one of our favorites, Alex Romero.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's by far the second most sad death out of the two in this episode, but it's still,
it is a very befitting death, though, because again, Romero's the most focused, most focused, dangerous guy. But when he's unfocused on Norma, it's his undoing. It's absolutely, again, it's a symbol of the series. If he'd just gone on after he kind of ran into Norma way back in the pilot, he might have been fine. But
exactly.
It was a little something like this. So a few things to decompress. I think just the audience reaction as a whole.
Oh, there's a surprise.
Yeah, right before he dies, like I said, Nestor really does get in his Emmy bid. You know what I mean? Just you can see all the regret and loss and torment on his face. He's really broken up about the whole thing.
Absolutely, and I think the best thing about this, about Romero's death, of course, is the fact that his last words is the last huge reveal that involves Norman's character arc in a very fundamental way. Because we've been examining the whole season. There are two bombs to be dropped on Norman Bates this season. The first bomb being that he's been becoming and imagining his mother, and second one, the bigger one, is the fact that he killed his mother, and that's what Romero confronts him with in the final moments. The man who was there the night it happened and knew this reveals in his last moments to Norma, which I argue this being said to him is what wakes Norman up. you killed her. You killed your own mother. You can't hide from. Just an
it not just
excellent
wakes Norman up; it sends Norman into a tailspin.
That's the only thing that could wake Norman up. Just something like a huge, psychologically breaking revelation.
Keep in mind, remember, like Norman has basically been MIA since what, like episode 8, I want to say.
Yeah, since the beginning of 8. Kind of interesting. We got rid of Norman at the beginning in the first act of 8. Now we're getting rid of Romero in the first act. But seriously, also just getting rid of Romero in Act 1 and doing it in such kind of a plot effective way. Again, it's a little bit like the original Psycho, kind of getting rid of one of our leads in the first act.
Totally.
It's definitely
it does kind of like it is very fitting, I feel like, because we all thought and speculated that eventually the series finale would go down as like some sort of big brawl between Romero and Norman, and then Romero's out within the first 10 minutes. So it's like it very much kind of like reshuffles the deck, and it's like, okay, now anything's on the table.
And again, I love that Norman's style as a killer. It's all about surprise, and that's what kills Romero. It's what feasibly could kill Romero. It's absolute and utter surprise.
Right.
That's serious. That makes sense. It's kind of Norman's greatest tool. And so again, just following that again, just I just love that while Romero does die in his last moments, he kind of strikes the big blow that will kind of lead Norman to the end.
Of course.
So let's see. So then we have Norma. Initially, again, as a reflex, she's trying to convince Norman that he was lying, again, trying to maintain things in the face of that gruesome, brutal truth. By the way, she looks beautiful in this scene and the next scene coming up. Oh God, she looks so darn beautiful. And there's the lighting and the little kind of the coat and everything. She gets more beautiful at the end, but you know what I mean. She's she's in the fashion on Farmiga. It's like oh God. But scene goes a little something like this, just kind of what I like to call mother's goodbye. Such a sad scene, I gotta say.
Yeah, this is something that we've been kind of speculating throughout this season, if there was a possibility that the mother persona could quote-unquote die, and I think it makes a lot of sense that it would be like, after he learned that final piece of information. Like she said, she was basically like his protector, and now it's like God knows what's going to happen to this kid after this, but there's nothing that she can protect him from. Her role's done.
It makes all the sense in the world that, okay, logically she would have no place going forward after that revelation, because again, nothing to protect him from. Again, Norman now understands everything, and he wouldn't want to imagine his mother at knowing what he did to her.
Yeah, and I got to admit, Dragon, after her departure, I was kind of like, not to give anything, I mean, obviously, I'm just going to say, like, the inevitable, I kind of felt the ending, like, I kind of felt the inevitability of the ending sort of weighing on me after this. You know what I mean? I was like, there is no way Norman's getting out of this, is he?
Well, I didn't quite get there at that point, but we'll.
I think I was pretty much there as soon as Mother departed. But anyways.
Well, again, it's kind of funny. I'm in the camp of she would kind of be on the mend at the end of things. We'd say goodbye to Mother, but then the last episode I was kind of on the opposite path of saying, well, what if she stuck around like the true ending of Psycho, and what if she again, the whole tragic or the happy ending.
I guess that's kind of why I felt that we were on the path, is that, like, if she would have, like, the fact that she doesn't stick around kind of indicates to me that they're not going to go the route of Psycho and have Norman just, like, somehow running the motel after all this, you know what I mean? Anyways.
So again, I always love with just the departure of Mother. The reason I always thought it made kind of great character sense that would be the way to go, which they did go, is that it's the bird leaving the nest. Now you know everything. You don't need your mother around anymore. It's kind of the crux of it, and that's kind of what the message is here. But again, psychologically connected. Like, okay, it's the rules of another of a beloved Pixar film referenced in Breaking Bad,
God.
Ratatouille. It's very much like in Ratatouille when the figment of Remy's imagination, Gusteau, basically he realizes he doesn't need him anymore, and it goes away. It's the same principle.
Sure.
He's gotten over his need for the protector, for someone to usher his ego in this case. But
All right.
So Norman does not want to leave her, but she says goodbye. Really, oh God, so sad.
Dragon, and then we get the big twist of the whole Bates Motel series, which is it was all a dream. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Carlton Cuse and Carrie Aaron, you guys got us. You got us.
Well, I think it's pretty safe to say that when this scene started, I think we were all kind of thinking,
What was that?
initially, basically before the end of the scene, before we put everything together, we were initially thinking, did they pull the guy in the shower from the soap opera? Did they pull that?
I gotta say, I just really like the fact that they psyched us out with something like that. You know what I mean? That they put the idea in our heads that it could be like that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, just because something to address before we move right into the dream, it's just with the death of the death of Romero, just kind of the connection between Mother and Norman. Just the episode's called The Chord, even though we don't say the chord anywhere in the episode. That's not a problem because again we're just referencing the very first episode. Again, we know what the chord is. The chord has been mentioned enough, so we know it is. We don't need it necessarily. But I love thematically that the chord's there because the idea is that the chord is strangling the pair. Anyone who's intrinsically linked with Norma is meeting an end of some kind. They're being suffocated. Norman being suffocated in that he's been so close to his mother, and we're still seeing that in the dream how close he is, and how kind of a dangerous lifestyle that makes for.
Yeah, very much so. Sure.
So of course I love that we. I love that we have the good Norma, the Norma that as she actually was, the Norma that was essentially a little example of what the real Norma was like versus Mother.
Oh, honey, it's so good to see you. It's good to see you too. Oh no, I was talking to my son. Oh, I still need him.
That's pretty much us, the audience. Any average Joe she meets is pretty much like, oh yeah, well I mean, hey, you're just the tops, girl. Oh yeah, great.
Right.
But scene goes a little something as the dream. There's basically Norman awakening again, like, oh God, it was so awful. What happened?
It's a beautiful day. Mother, you're here. And of course I'm here and live your side. I just had the most horrible dream. What happened? I don't want to think about it too long. Okay, then don't let it go. My guy's checked on. I didn't. I'm right here. Life is in front of us.
I really love that line. Life is in front of us. Just
this is like such a fitting device for the series finale to go back to the beginning like this. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So
I won't bore you with the details, Dragon, but let's just say another Carlton Cuse show, Lost, very much did a similar device to this with kind of flashing back to moments that we've seen over the course of the series in a very creative way. Like I said, I won't bore you with the details, but it seems like it's in the Carlton Cuse wheelhouse.
Okay, well before we get to the big revelation of the dream, like the reason for the dream, let's just continue with the dream. So basically, there's a moment where, for me, like the moment when she vanished, I love just kind of how this plays to the audience. Like the moment, like he gets up saying yes, Mother, and she disappears out of the room. We're thinking, okay, something's off here. Definitely not the dream thing. Now we're gonna find out what's off here. He goes down the room, he sees, okay, she's there, and it's like, oh no, I've been here the whole time. So again, is this reality? But then, of course, we get as she's making breakfast for the final time, it is revealed that Norman was, and this to me is such a a bittersweet kind of revelation. It's like it's such a beautiful, brilliant idea, but again, so sad at the same time. I mean, we're reaching the end of our tragedy sort of idea. It's the it's the notion that Norman was so traumatized, as we saw in season 4. He was so traumatized learning this that he he then hallucinated Norman in the first place. That's kind of what brought that on, because he was just so traumatized by learning he killed his mother. We're doing that again, but in a new, different way. Basically, Norman's so traumatized by the truth, losing all of his normas, he's unwilling to go on in life, so he enters what I like to call the next stage of blackout. Tiki, you're muted. Yeah. Yeah, you're muted. I can't hear you. Anyway. Okay, I'm going on anyway. So yeah, basically what I like to call this, folks, is blackout mode stage 5. Basically, Norma's so traumatized, it's like stage 4 has always been he becomes mother, he becomes Norma. Stage 5 is he was so traumatized he's creating a whole new reality. So he is creating a whole new reality, and that basically takes us into kind of the rest of the episode. Norman's basically reliving things from the pilot. Basically, it's like a happy what-if scenario. What if we took out all the negative elements of Norman's life and he got an ultimate do-over? Well, you were there for a second, then it went away. Okay. I know. I'm going. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see. So again, Norman's unwilling to go on in life without his mother with this news. So again, just kind of the ultimate reset again, because he just can't go forward knowing that he killed his mother. So it's like the ultimate overreaction psychologically. It's like, we're going to take you back and we'll give you the life you wanted. Kind of the ultimate do-over of the Dark Paradise. The ultimate do-over of Dark Paradise, where Norma's alive, all's happy and go lucky. Basically, another word for it would be a total cognitive reset, just kind of total cognitive blackout reset. So Norman, again, the horrifying reality is to confirm this is Norman. Question still. Wait, there we go.
Okay, you can hear me. Thank God.
Yes.
Wow.
There we go.
For some reason, it was like my mute button was like glued to itself for some reason. Anyways.
All right, I'm sorry. Do you have anything to weigh in on what was going on?
No. I was just gonna hype it up a little, because you're right. It's very cool that in the last episode of the series we get this final blackout mode, and I'm sure you explained it very well, Dragon. So
yeah, blackout mode stage 5.
Oh, yeah.
Total cognitive reset.
Oh yeah.
So then of course we get the reality. So it's explained to us, the audience, because we visually put it together. Where Norman he awakens next to the dead body of Romero, asking if he still dreams. That's such a heartbreaking. That communicates so heartbreakingly to the audience that, oh God, it's in his mind. He's worse than ever before. He's completely fractured psychologically.
Yeah, it's like you see like the scar on his head from the trauma, and he's just bloody in the snow, and like you said, like the dead body of Romero's like right next to him. It's like, oh, this ain't happy sunshine days.
Again, I love that we have a bit with how beaten up he is from Romero. I love that he's broken inside, but he's also broken visually on the outside. Just a really kind of good representation of him being broken on the inside. Mm-hmm. Real quick, just because Romero's corpse is still in play, because I forgot to mention this when we're talking about Romero. Just why his corpse is in the scene. Did you hear any of the funny rivalry that Carbonell and Highmore had?
No, I didn't.
Real quick, all I was going to say is they've made this joke when they made the press rounds that Carbonell believes that Highmore, because he was in the writer's room and he directed this season, because he was in the writer's room again, that he made the decision to kill off Romero.
Oh, God.
It's like it's a joke they keep going on, basically keep playing up this fake rivalry of like, just like Highmore's like, well, everything would have worked out fine in Bates Motel if Romero never came along.
Technically that is true.
It is, and that's what we see in this episode. It's pretty funny. So let's see. So again, I love the POV shots, by the way, when we're in the stage 5.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we're in the ultimate do-over, and then we get basically a series of dark, series. Here's the kind of the comedy of the episode. We get the dark comedy of the happy-go-lucky Norman drowning in madness. I'd like to call. He's just drowning in his madness.
Okay, you're right. This is some very black comedy indeed.
Because again, it's like he's so happy, he's covered in blood, and he has this. We have a fantastic shot coming up where. Let me build to it. So we have a precursor. So basically, we're going even further past the pilot. So this is a scene that we didn't see in the pilot.
Yeah, which I love. I love how we get, like, it kind of goes full circle. And my God, Vera Farmiga just looks radiant and youthful. And I don't know what they did to her, but I want some.
Right. What they do is basically we see kind of a missing scene from the pilot. I wonder if this is an actual deleted scene they got rid of and they just kind of reshot it.
Would that be crazy?
That would be. That would be. I don't necessarily think so, because this was an exposition scene, but now they've made it emotionally charged. And again, like a fresh way of seeing the pilot without, again, just kind of seeing every scene from the same angle.
Right.
So we get basically her informing Norman of the move without his say on it, which they talked about in the pilot, and it goes a little something like this.
I have some exciting news. Oh my. We're moving to Oregon. What are you talking about? I bought a place. Insurance money. And I bought a new car. Well, it's a new used car, but it's a Mercedes. And we're going to get in that car, we're going to go to a new place, and we're going to start over. And we're going to be really, really happy. Please. Mother, how can you do this and not tell me? Because it's a surprise, and I know you love it. Come on, get up, come on, we got packing to do. Okay, Mother. I'm coming.
Real quick, I just want to say, rewatching it, I just they got to use this for like a Mercedes advertisement or something. They would sell so many. Just the way she's just plugged the Mercedes, I'm like, I'm sold. I'm down for it.
I've got a freaking Mercedes, Norman. It's a Mercedes. Come on.
She's so happy about the Mercedes. Like, it's so infectious. Like, yeah, darn it, she's right. I got it. Darn the luck. Okay. So what I'm building to is So Norman's a Chord, basically a happy-go-lucky runner with Norman. We have this so wonderfully directed here. Basically, the idea we mirror and use the same shots and dialogue from the pilot. So now that we've seen a scene that we haven't seen, now we're seeing scenes we have, but again, shot in new.
And Dragon, I absolutely love the contrast between like the sunny, glowy light and then like the dark, stormy atmosphere. Just such great lighting here. You know what I mean?
Yep, and we get the dialogue of Norma saying, like, basically mouthing what Norman should say, like, "Thank you, Mom, for taking me on this amazing ride." And then, of course, the sad reality of then we have Norman's side of the dialogue with him in the driver's seat. Kind of again, it's committed to memory.
It's terrific too, because it's just like this kid is like not in a state to be driving. You know what I mean?
No, and again, then we have the most heartbreaking, beautiful yet hilarious shot.
Right.
Darkly hilarious, bear in mind. Again, it's a beautifully composed shot of Norman, happy-go-lucky in the driver's seat. In the back seat is his dead mother.
Yes. Oh,
and again, he looks like he's the happiest boy on earth.
You're right, Dragon. You're right. This is absolutely where the dark comedy of the episode comes from, for sure.
And I gotta tell you though, and this is a funny way. This is a fun way of what we do in series all the time, where this is kind of the funny send off of a series. But this is a clever way of doing the send off of a series. But we always like harken back to the first season. Absolutely. And this is such a brilliant device of doing that. We're making it so story relevant. I was super impressed by that. So let's see. So again, Andrew. All right. So basically, just on the whole, so you gotta imagine. So again, as great as this reality is to Norma, you gotta imagine. Just the point is this whole idea. My thoughts on it. Again, I would assume what Norma and Norman's thoughts on this as well would be. Sorry.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Also, is it weird that like throughout the scene I was just worried that Norman was going to get into a car wreck because
he was right
totally
next to the railing. So
right.
I don't think they're going to end things that tragically.
Oh God!
And right before we were about to get closure, he just plummeted off.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
But he was smiling on the way down and said, "Wave to the birds, Mother! Wave to the birds!"
And then the rest of the episode is just Dylan tracking down Romero's body and just very procedural, just like reuniting with Emma, and we get like a long drawn out anyways.
Anyway, so then we approach we have the motel, the unveiling of the motel, but again, this is so shot so heartbreaking as we see Norman's happy face all scarred up and all bloodied up, and he's looking like, oh yes, it looks great. And then he's carrying Norma like he's carrying her in the threshold up the stairs.
Oh, God.
Of course, mirroring the classic shot of Norman carrying the bodies to the car.
Of course.
Then we let's see where we go from there. Again, we're echoing things we've seen. Norman now looking upon the motel with pride, nothing but unencumbered pride. Again, he's carrying his mother up the stairs. Brilliant editing through the whole thing.
I've got one complaint, Dragon, and I will never mention it again because it's one of those kind of like John.
I hope it's the one. I think it's the one complaint I have too. Go on.
It's totally in the John Lasseter, like, we don't care camp, but...
To clarify for the folks at home, because the last one, too, is that when we say that, we're not saying Pixar doesn't care. We're saying in the commentaries they go on about how at the very end, like the last couple minutes, like the last act, usually it's like, we've done so well, we anyone questions the logic, we don't care. They're in it. We've done a good job as does. They care about it enough. They don't care about the little details.
All right, and that logic, Dragon, is, I don't know, wouldn't you think there would be at least some police presence at the motel?
Yes, that is the one gripe, but again, it's the we don't care gripe.
Yeah, totally.
Now here's the thing that bugs me about it more, so just to acknowledge it real quick, because we're not going to get only like you did this beautiful episode. You linger on the fact. Well, if they were there, they couldn't come home. Be happy now. You killed the finale. No. But in all seriousness,
that's what I'm saying. Like with the finale, it's like we need Norman in that hotel.
Yes.
We need him in the house. Like do it however the fuck you can. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
So I mean, look, she mentions that she's going to send people to the residences of Norman and Romero, which makes the problem worse because they should be there and there's tape. But again, I guess they were the only passable. Like
I mean, I would think hypothetically they would just have a patrol like
every couple hours.
No, I would think they'd have people stationed there given the situation.
I'm just trying to think like what the rationale. I'm saying like maybe they sent people there and they're going off to find other things.
But I guess.
Yeah, you're right though. It doesn't make sense. I'm saying it's in the grand scheme small.
Again, we don't care.
We don't care. We
don't care.
No, I'll take it. Again, I was questioning during the last one, but I don't care. It's like fine, do whatever you need.
Right.
To face the Mona Lisa, I don't care. We're all good. So again, Norman again, he's fantastic editing as he's going inside the house and he's saying, "Oh, this is going to be great."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, mother, I'll believe you again. And he's believing hard enough. That's what that believing thing's starting to come in there.
It's like Peter Pan with the freaking fairies, man.
And we've had Peter Pan foreshadowed in season 3.
And also, High Morgott has starred in Finding Neverland, so there's that.
Absolutely. Again, it's all connected. Meanwhile, we get an excellent shot of Dylan brooding by the blanketed snow beach.
Yes, I'm just gonna count that.
It is a really cool shot, isn't it?
Yeah. But... So
then we have what I like to call a...
It totally is, man. Look, I fuck Cupcake Boy, all right? I do not care that Cupcake Boy did not make an appearance. Remo's back! Yes! Remo! We get to see Remo one last time, Dragon! Oh,
not only is it a mention, he's there!
It was beautiful, Dragon. It was beautiful. Oh, God, I love it. I am so happy that that Bates Motel threw us dorky, like hardcore Bates Motel fans a bone with this, because there's really no reason for the scene to be there. They could have just written Dylan having a gun. They could have written any number of reasons for Dylan to get a gun. It's just, no, Remo's here because it's the last episode and we need to tie up that loose end, and it's so satisfying, Dragon. It's so satisfying. To make a Lost reference really quick, Dragon, really quick, it's like when Frank Lapidus shows up in the series finale of Lost. It's like, oh, there he is, yes! I'm sorry, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but Lost fans do. Anyways, moving on.
So just on the whole, before I play, just basically he's greeted by Remo. I wrote in my notes, yay! He offers his sympathies with Norman. They catch up, like how far they've evolved. And essentially, the crux of this scene, I kind of noticed that I think the purpose for Remo is, aside from like the fan service of it all, is basically, and I think this is important though. I think this is important. Another thing to solidify too that Dylan might be in danger here, because what we're doing here is we're showing. Oh,
definitely, sure.
We're showing the path another path Dylan may have taken had he not come back. Like what if Dylan didn't come back? he could have turned out like Remo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, he could have just still moved on happy with his life and just kind of basically even gotten to do what he wanted to do because he wanted to kind of start his own dispensary. Way
so
back
it's basically like a warning for sure. Yeah.
Again, like here's a successful version. If Dylan's smart, he's going to get out of town before he's going to use that gun. So again, Remo brings him a gun. So anyway, before we get to the gun of it all, is like here they're catching up. We get to hear what old Remo's been up to. Good old Remo, Bates Motel's Harvey Bullock. Goes a little something like this.
What's going on, man? Thanks for coming over. Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, I heard about what's happening with your brother. Sorry about that. So, is that a wedding ring? Yeah, got married. Yeah, better check his sister rumors. Dude, everything's changed. I'm working for this licensed grower now, growing 22 strains of artisanal cannabis. 31 dispensaries all over the place. It's unbelievable. It's like a real job. That's great, man. And your daughter, Emma. It's awesome. Thanks, man. It's great.
So then Remo gives him a gun, which Dylan needs. I'm still convinced that Dylan needs the gun. Well, he says for his protection, which I imagine is for both Romero and for Norman, just in case.
Yeah, for sure. I'd imagine like mostly for Romero with an off chance of Norman.
Because you got to remember, Norman he almost did kill Dylan last time, so it's kind of a smart precaution.
Sure.
Just again, he doesn't want it. Absolutely not. Does he want to use it? He does not want to use it, but we'll see. So then basically we have gun pleasantries. We have Remo pleasantries.
Yes.
Goes a little something like that. It's really nice what happens here. This is very much kind of in the vein of a Better Call Saul reference to Lawson, the gun guy, and kind of his politics a little.
Yeah, indeed.
Goes a little something like this.
No, you don't know me anything. I got a ton of those things laid around. No use for them anymore. Sure. You gotta fit me, you don't put that wallet away. Thanks. Alright, cool. Look at this plan. Next time, give me a little more notice. We can make a real plan. Get together, have some beers. Reminisce about our outlaw days.
Good old Remo.
Dragon, that's the spin-off of the show I genuinely want to see. Is just like genuinely just like each episode is like 30 minutes of Dylan and Remo just shooting the shit, talking about good old times. You know, you got Emma in the background, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So let's see. So Regina returns, much to Sheriff Green's delight, but again, just not it's again still focused on Regina versus the other two. Oh,
Sure,
Green.
sure.
Green's priorities. So, meanwhile, Norma is in an old school. I love how she's off screen. I love how they're shooting it like Psycho. You know, she's obscured and she's like in an old school house dress, like a really kind of flowery, kind of tacky looking like house coat dress. Again, very very Psycho-esque. Kind of as he's talking to Mother, who again is obscured. Then. He's telling her, get some rest, and basically the idea is, with the kind of this new timeline in Norman's head with Blackout Mode Stage 5, is that this is the grand opening of the Bates Motel sans Romero and the Keith Summers fiasco. I think what it's suggesting is if these two events didn't happen, we would have jumped right into season 3 where Norman's become manager. I think that's what they're saying with it.
Yeah, and in general, it just would have been a happier show about just a mother and a son running a motel with some wacky guests and some hijinks along the way.
Yeah, and so essentially, you gotta imagine Norma's saying to Norman.
So yeah, go manage.
So Norman gets right at it. He goes down to the office. He's opening and he finds the crime scene tape, which I love the fact it says sheriff's line, do not cross, and the sheriff being mentioned.
But Dragon, I gotta say, just the crime tape, the police tape being there, it's basically just like the Laster-esque, like, all right, yeah, here's the explanation. All right, see?
Well, we know Norman's in denial.
Here's the presence, you see?
Yeah. Yeah. Tiki. Oh, wait, there we go. We're fine there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm sorry, the button did the thing. I was just warning you.
What, the mute?
Well, yo, now you're fine. I'm saying for a moment it did it. Oh, it's doing it again. Did it again.
Oh no, really?
All right. Okay, well, let's see how it goes. All right. So, okay, let's see. So again, Norman's going
you still
down.
Hear me, right?
Right now, yes, still
Okay.
good, still good.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Where was I? Norman. So again, Norman takes down the sheriff's tape. Again, the question is no one searching for Norman? But again, we don't care. So, we hear his love is, he dings the bell, he flips the open sign, and he pulls out with pride the candy corn. We're fully in the psycho headspace. The guest registry, it's all there. He's all ready to get things started. And then let's see. So by this this is again in the we don't care headspace. Just, it's not as much as a plot problem. This is a we don't care thing in terms of it's awfully convenient that this.
There's a woman pulling up like right as he's flipping the open sign.
Again, luckily he took down the crime scene too.
right.
And again, it's the Amy, though it's the woman's name. Amy, this mother of two very familiar boys.
Oh God.
So again, it's a very convenient check-in, but this one purely is in the best sense of it. The whole we don't care. We can easily get this one a pass. Like, okay, yeah, totally. Accentuate the story. And it's also to motivate. It's to move Norman's story forward. So
and it's also just kind of like I took it as the final check-in. You know what I mean? Like, It's kind of like taking things full circle, like reminiscing about certain things. Like, all right, this is like the last time we're going to see something like this.
Well, I took two other things away from it. You're right, though. It's kind of the finale kind of area. So again, it's the finale. We don't care, but it's another. What I love about this too is it's a little sense of danger because there's another Norma-esque figure with two sons. Again, this woman. The idea is this woman's supposed to be Norma.
Yeah, sure.
Not actually, you know what I mean? I'm saying it's a representation Norma. You're kind of a woman who's very, she's kind of dressed a little bit like season 1 Norma. She has the two sons who are identically dressed to Norman and Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he has like the brown coat like Norman. He's got, again, has the hoodie like, Dylan wore here and there.
Right.
So the point is the kids, and one of them named Dylan, very, very plot relevant.
Of course.
So yeah, I think that's I'd like that as a clever idea of like, okay, again, this woman may potentially be in danger too, like if Norman turned on her and like killing the motel guest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So basically, the whole point of this lady too, because he checks are really nice, really all good stuff happening. The fact that he kind of points out that hey. I have a brother named Dylan. This gets him thinking about Dylan, which again,
yeah, sure, gets the wheels turning for sure.
And the other idea in this reality in Norman's head is that hey, this is before Dylan just kind of again because he didn't like Dylan when he first showed up. It's like, what if Dylan didn't show up?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of sweet that he sort of starts thinking about Dylan on his own terms. You know what I mean? Even though you're right, there was kind of that big falling out beforehand. It's a nice sentiment.
And then we have the line that the kids are playing outside, and it says, it's safe out there. It's nothing if not safe. I think that line implies that these people might be in danger if Norman, again, if he goes off his rocker even further.
Yeah. But to tell you the truth, I don't necessarily think it's that good of a plot device when it comes to that, like the dangling sort of sense of danger. But like I said, I mostly just took it. I mean, I'm totally saying like that's what they're trying to do with that. I just don't necessarily think it's really all that. It's not really necessary. I don't think the sense of danger is really necessary.
Well, I mean, again, the sense of danger is not in the forefront. It's the fact that, okay, he's still running the motel, which is a dangerous idea of him still running the motel.
I think that's more the idea I took away. Just
let me say it's like some
motel, sure.
Some additional stuff kind of feeding into it. So anyway, so Dylan needs to wet his whistle, so he goes into a bar.
A young Bruce Wayne walked into a bar.
He said, ow. So, Dylan enters the bar to build his courage for most likely a Romero showdown. That's what I took away from it.
Right.
Then, just because he is a young Bruce Wayne, a beautiful woman chats Dylan up.
Oh, wait, that's Breaking Bad, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful woman chats Dylan up, but he's not
very receptive.
Not receptive because one, he's a married man, but secondly, again, he's a little focused at the moment. But I love that he does apologize.
That's exactly what I was focused on. I was like, "Don't do it, Dylan. Don't do it. Don't do anything with that girl. All right, all right. She we don't know if she's a nice girl or not, and you're married to the queen of nice girls."
Yep. So again, I love that he apologizes. Though he says, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be that kind of. I don't mean to be mean. It's just, I get a lot on my mind." I think she kind of gives a nod. Like,
you would
okay,
say that's a pleasantry, perhaps.
Yes. So then Dylan gets a call again, a serendipitous call from Norman, who again in his mind, he's like reaching out to Dylan now that Dylan's on his mind. He's trying to reconnect the family in a way, which is a sweet notion, as you mentioned. And again, it's like a fun way. Like again, Dylan showed because he wanted money, and now there's like the positive way of Dylan showing up on the Bates doorstep.
It's the positive way, but in oh so dark circumstances.
Of course, like let's just say he's got a little surprise for Dylan.
Right. Oh God.
Thank God it wasn't Mother's Day. Let's say that much.
Oh man.
So here's the phone conversation.
I could actually see this show having a lot of fun with a Mother's Day tie-in or promotion. It's kind of too bad they never did that. Anyway,
so basically the way this call goes, and I gotta highlight this. So again, this is Terriot kind of going for the Emmy kill.
Mm-hmm.
Without a word, well, not without a word up. I love that he's doing the young Bruce Wayne thing. He's really receptive, and he's really seriously throughout this film. He's doing. I love it when he does this. The thing I just mentioned. When he does this. He's taking in Norman's madness and he's processing and he's deducing it. Again, really smartly. He's like piecing it there. It's not like calling him out. He's not confused on the phone. Like he's taking it all in and he's processing. And this is one of my favorite things with Max Terriot in the show when he does this sort of stuff. So basically, Norman's he's asking like, Norman, where are you? Are you okay? He says, oh yes, Dylan, I'm fine. It's the first time Norman's reaching out to Dylan, and he's like, Dylan's piecing together through the conversation. Oh my God, he's stuck in season 1. That goes a little something like this, and again, there's Terriot just taking it all in. He's saying just the right words, which is absolutely how you want to handle someone if they're off their rocker like this in real life. This is actually how you do in kind of a therapy kind of standard. Again, you let them talk, and then you kind of process, and you play towards the madness. That's kind of how you do it. It goes a little something like this.
You okay? Where are you? Of course I'm okay, Dylan. I just wanted you to know that we're at the new house with the motel. I miss you. I know Mother does too. Mother. Norma, as you like to call her. Look, I know that she can be so stubborn sometimes. It's just because she gets hurt so easily. I know that the two of you had that terrible fight before we moved from Scottsdale, but I think this could be a new beginning. Dylan, for all of us. And we're not a family without you, Dylan. So I really think we should start over and be together. And I guess the real reason that I'm calling is I would love it if you could come over for dinner. Yeah, of course. I'll be right over, okay? You will. Norman? Yeah? Are you with Romero? Romero? No, I don't know Romero. Okay. Alright, well, you just hang tight, okay? I'll be over soon. Alright. Thanks, Dylan. I'll see you soon.
Again, kind of heartbreaking and kind of sweet. Just Norman reaching out to him. It's nothing but love for the brother. But oh boy, it's going to take a really drastic turn.
Oh yeah.
All right. So next scene would be Norman's. Oh God, and the music. Now let's address this. The music choices in this episode are flawless, and the ending one really hits me because I really like that song at the end. But okay, the song choice in this last one, they really pulled out all the stops, as they don't. There's some of their montage. Again, the beginning of 9 had a really good, Bobby Darin song.
Of course.
So here we have there's a Doris Day theme because Doris Day, big sensation, again in tune with Norman's kind of film taste as we've established in the series. But also, I love how appropriate the songs are. This one's about mothers, so it's whatever will be will be. It's all about kind of the mother mentioned all throughout the song. It's really happy-go-lucky as Norman's preparing this eloquent dinner for he and Dylan, which we've seen a dinner again. I love how this links with episode 7 so much because I also really loved episode 7. Where we're just doing the thing again. Okay, now again.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't.
Yeah, well, now I can hear you, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so again,
but like now.
No, well, yeah, now.
Okay, that's weird because basically every time I touch my keyboard, it mutes. So I'm just not going to touch my keyboard, Dragon. All right.
Okay. All right. So all right. Let's see. So we dressed. We see Norman. We haven't seen this sort of stuff. So now we're seeing in the last of it, he's dressing Norma in her finest.
Right.
And it's the Christmas dress, which is like a bad sign for me. It's like, oh god, I'm gonna get so emotional by the end of this episode. They're putting her in the Christmas dress. It was like the most heartbreaking ending, beautiful heartbreaking ending of a Bates Motel season. How are they gonna top it?
Mm-hmm.
No, boys, that was like an omen for like, oh boy, get your Emmys ready. So then the carry, Norman's carrying Mother down the stairs. Just pulled shot for shot from Psycho.
Of course.
Dylan arrives at nightfall. So basically, I love how the act break is. Like Act 1's Romero, Act 2 is ends with the phone call, and Act 3 is just like this scene onward. Oh, yeah, it's really.
It sort of goes into like I'm assuming the Romero stuff is kind of like, let's just say like that goes from like late night to early morning.
Yeah.
And then Act 2 is the afternoon, and then Act 3 is night.
Exactly. It's really good structure on that. So Dylan arrives. Again, big dramatic stuff. Dylan arrives at night. He's armed in his gun. He makes of course the last dinner didn't go so well. He has no idea what's awaiting him. Like, is Romero still up there? Is he not up there? Again, is Norman going to try to kill him again? So again, he has the gun for his protection for that reason. He calls, given like again, he doesn't know how this encounter is going to go. He calls Emma because this could be the last time he ever talks to his wife.
Oh God.
So he's calling Emma, and Emma. Again, it's nice to see her like working to the last one, because again she's been the founding member of the cast.
No, you're right. I'm glad we didn't just see her at the very end in that flash. I'm glad they actually gave her a scene.
Yeah, which is nice. Oh. So she's essentially what the scene boils down to. I'll play the end of it. She's begging him not to go in alone. Dylan's like Dylan's he's very trepidatious going there because he has to do it. Again, this is like that young Bruce Wayne.
I love how he's just the one thing he's wanting from Emma is to hear "I love you," but Emma doesn't give that to him because it's gonna just give him ammunition. Yep,
and she does not want that. And again, this is like to me is that young Bruce Wayne thing of like, you're gonna get yourself killed, but I have to. He's so driven, so compelled. He knows he has to. And the line that really does it for me, and you'll hear it as it comes up, is when she says, he's dangerous, and then he says he's not dangerous to me. That's the line right there. Yes. That epitomizes it right there. We get that scene. The scene follow. Oh, go with this. Keep the jar handy because these.
All right.
Okay, so it goes a little something like this.
Just call the sheriff. Norman's dangerous. It's not dangerous to me. Please, I'm not your mom. I'm not going to arm you up so you can go and do something stupid. I'll never love anyone else but you. You screwed me there with the
Now you gotta imagine in Emma's head, like her mentor Norma, she'd be saying over the phone. Just to kind of knock some sense into him. But again, it's a really kind of it's a tense.
That was a very kind of it is a very sweet line though.
Yes.
I never loved anyone else but you, so you got me screwed there on the Dakota.
Oh, yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so folks, I Jimmy don't know if maybe I'll get to the ending, but we'll get there. Okay,
we're getting dangerously close, Dragon, and might I say we're doing good on time. So
I'm just
chugging
worried
along.
Yeah, we'll keep going. So again, real quick, I'm gonna just try to keep my love fest to a minimum here on this part. Here. So again, Dylan, he gets out and he notices there's a car there. There's a motel guest, which of course is a dangerous combination. And for what's going to go down, he doesn't want to risk any lives. So again, he saves Amy, or the mother, and the two kids by kind of knocking on her door and kind of telling her what's going on. And well,
I like how he asks. I like his description of Norman as like tall, brown hair, really polite.
Yes. Oh yeah, that was great. The scene goes a little something like this. I'll weigh in on it in a second.
My brother Norman, check you in. He's his early 20s, dark brown hair, black. Yeah, black. You need to leave. What are you talking about? My brother has some mental issues and he shouldn't be taking people in the motel. Mental issues? Yes. Look, you made a mistake checking you in. Just take your kids in there. Okay. Kale, I need you to put your stuff in your roller bags. Do it now! So money, there's a motel, the King's Motel. It's just up the road. You can stay there. Thank you. Just take your kids in the room.
So again, very young Bruce Wayne heroics there. He's saving the family. Again, saving a representation of his mother's memory in a way, which is kind of nice.
I also really like how the King's Motel gets tied back into all this.
Which I just want to say again, he's kind of. I love at a point just because we're at the very last one. I want to say that I love at this point that Dylan is sort of what I like to call a pleasantries Jedi, and he's he's pleased the Ford ghost, one could say. the Ford ghost, get it?
Yeah.
And so again, it's like because it's the last time. Let's have it said here.
In business, as in life in general, pleasantries are an important part of how people communicate. It helps us to find common ground.
Just imagine them all blue and glowing.
Oh, God.
So again, I just love that. Again, Dylan is just kind of exercising those teachings. But again, I love the fact that he gave her money to check into
the actor who plays Nick Ford is probably so thankful to us that we've kept his character alive.
Maybe, but he's alive in our hearts and in the Force, or in the
He's
Ford.
just like, oh wow, this villain part I played on Bates Motel 4 years ago really paid off. These guys are still talking about me.
So, yeah. So again, seriously, I thought it was really nice that he kind of setting them on their way and everything. He was giving them cash. It's really, again, very in line with kind of the thing we've been hyping up for 4 seasons now. And also, what I kind of like in this scene, as Dylan's walking up, I love just kind of as we see them leave. Dylan's walking up the staircase. Again, great, wonderfully composed shot. In itself, it's very much like a Western. It's like now the ghost town is clear for the showdown.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's really cool. So let me build this. So again, this is my ultimate. This is my crowning achievement of the YBW.
Oh God.
So I was so wowed by this, and I was like, oh God, yes. It's as basically in a very great Batman story from Scott Snyder, Death of the Family. Mm-hmm. It all builds to a head where the whole thing builds to the last issue. The big climax is Joker invites Batman to the dinner party from heck. He invites him to a dinner party. He's throwing a dinner in Batman's honor. And it's basically the most horrific things ever await Batman at this dinner. That's essentially what Dylan, as our young Bruce Wayne, is doing in this scene. And it's kind of funny how Norman's graduated from kind of the Harvey Dent figure to the Joker in this last episode. It's kind of saying proverbially. It's again just in terms of the guy who's all smiles and all happiness, addressing Dylan as he walks into this thing, and he's completely unaware again as he is.
Again, I love the idea of a serial killer whose main character trait is politeness.
Yes, which again that's Norman Bates to a T. He's totally darn charming. So Dylan he knocks on the door. He's welcomed with open arms by his brother. And there's a really creepy, brilliant touch. They again, I think they were kind of playing to me this last episode and these last.
Oh,
you know, I tell you, because not only do they kind of have like kind of a what the reference I just pulled going on for them vaguely, they reference one of my favorite scenes in all of Bates Motel in this last episode. They have Patsy Cline saying "You belong to me."
Mm-hmm.
In the background, and again, it's by a different artist, but still, they have the "You Belong to Me," which is one of my favorite scenes in Bates Motel when Norma's asleep and Norman's like in blackout mode, he's caressing her.
Sure.
The whole "Tonight You Belong to Me." It was Gene Austen in that one. Point is, again, they homage my favorite scenes, adds this creepy level to it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, so Dylan comes in and basically Norman's like hyping up the dinner, and Dylan he just wants to get down business, he wants to talk, and Norman says, "Oh, let me put dinner on the table, then we'll talk." He says, and then he says this.
She's not here.
And then Norman, he points with his eyes to the other room like, "Hey, check it out for yourself."
Right.
And then, oh god, we've been building to this, and this is wonderful. Basically, we do kind of the moment from Psycho where Lila sees Mrs. Bates.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I love that we have the review for the one character who has not seen this horror. And it's a character we like, of course. And again, it kind of plays into what we've been saying this season of kind of Dylan fitting into the Sam Loomis Lila role.
Mm-hmm.
He and Emma to some capacity, mainly Dylan. From the back, it looks like Norma's there, and he enters the room, and then we have again kind of our moment from oh boy, it's just the horror revealed. Norma, made up by the way, like he covered the dark circles around the eyes, but still it's like kind of like mascara running down it, so it's really tragic.
Right.
in the Christmas dress, it's like so perverse of that happy-go-lucky take we had at the end of season 4. And now we're seeing the horrific version of that here. Vera Farmiga looking at her corpsey best, sitting in the chair, and Dylan is he's utterly horrified to see his mother in the state in a chair sitting before him, and his instinctual reaction is he throws up.
Of course, as siblings would.
Let's just say our ending is going to be done in 2 parts. So here is part 1, the reaction to said body. So again, Dylan throwing up, and then Norman takes notice of this.
Dylan? Is you okay in there? You must be sick. Poor thing. Here, let me help you. Poor Dylan. This has all been too much for you. Okay? I'm sorry that we moved without telling you. You don't worry about this, alright? I'll clean it up. It's all fine, Dylan. You just got a little bit overexcited. Okay, here, sit down. Sit down with Mother. Dylan, sit down. Stop what you're doing. What am I doing, Dylan? Dylan, please don't ruin it. I have to, Norman. You're not living in the real world. You need to live in the real world. You have to stop this. Stop what, Dylan? Norma is dead, okay? This is her body. You brought her body here. Well, I disagree. This isn't something that you can agree or disagree with. She's dead, Norma. Stop it. Stop it, Dylan. Stop saying that. You have to deal with it. You need to come in, you need to turn yourself in, and we need to get you help. That's what you want from me? To be shut up in some prison for the criminally insane and drugged out of my mind? I don't know what I want for you. What I really want is something that can never happen, okay? I want you to be happy, and I want you to be well. I want Mom to be alive again. I want both of you to... I want you guys to meet my daughter. I want to have Christmases together, okay? I want all of these things to have never happened. Well, if you believe hard enough, then you can make it that way. No, you can't.
Okay, so a little time out there.
Yeah.
Oh God. So first and foremost, let's acknowledge this. So again, this episode, when I was watching it, I think as we collectively can agree upon, Terriot may have stolen the Emmy from Highmore, which is so bittersweet.
Yeah.
It's so bittersweet because, again, Highmore earned that Emmy last season, and as great a job as Highmore's done here, a part of me says, yeah, Terriot earned it this season, darn it. I mean, they've all earned it, but, you know, I mean, he really kind of stole shit.
He really did. He really did. I mean, he really put in his acting chops here. I mean,
every episode since he's been introduced, he's been really delivering, and this one is the crescendo. This is like where it's like the scene they play on the screen.
And it really does kind of go full circle. Like, you know, we were all expecting the finale to end with a confrontation between Romero and Norman, and instead, much like how Norma gets killed off, Dragon. It's like we expected Norman to get killed off in this sort of visceral, bloody way, but instead it's this like tragic, like, you know, like heartfelt thing that happens.
Exactly, and basically we've reached the point where I get two comparisons here. One is like the thing I've been saying ever since the beautiful ending of season 4, where it was basically kind of the American Dad example of the chimp reviving its of the gorilla. You know, the ape reviving its gorilla mother. It's dead for 4 hours.
Oh, God, right.
And that's the comparison I use. And basically, it's like then every time Norton has to face their reality, it's going to send them spiraling even further. Basically, this is like the scene where Dylan's trying to explain to the gorilla that your mother's.
I think the last bit of dark comedy that we get in the series is when Norman's like, if you believe hard enough, then it'll be so. You can make it that way.
Well, no, again, you're right. Those are the dark, like the whole. I disagree. You can't disagree about
right.
Again, it's like it's amazing that in this the darkest thing.
Norman is just trying so hard to hold on to his illusion, and he's just like, and Dylan is just trying so hard to break him out of it. It's just like
Norman is drowning in his madness. He is beyond saving. That's kind of where he's at right now in his mind. You know, he's again. Your heart goes out to Dylan because again, he's being raked over. Dylan's been through a lot this whole series. He's been through a lot. And it's always, and this point is probably the worst thing we've ever done to Dylan, confronting him with his dead mother in a chair in front of him.
Right.
And again, your heart goes out to him. And again, he's in a position where he can't be mad at his brother, because he knows it's not his fault. And again, it's like his brother's done something unspeakably horrible, but he knows it's not his fault. And that's why Norman's like all happy-go-lucky when he's cleaning up the vomit and everything. And again, like his brother's like too likable, even though he's done atrocious things to hate. And again, it's like now we've reached kind of the point we've foreshadowed ever since Caleb. Quite honestly, we foreshadowed the of mice and men moment. Basically, the minute Dylan entered the house, I was worried that we're going to enter the mice.
I was there with you, man. I was there with you. I was like, one of these people is not going to make it out.
Basically, we're entering the mice and men thing. Is it going to be a mercy thing? Is it going to be like kind of a survival thing, which we'll get into momentarily? But you see what I'm saying? We entered you knew it was like brewing in the air. Like, okay, we're in the totally. We, the audience, I love how we, the audience, are putting it together. Okay, I don't think Norman can be saved. These things are getting this horrible with him, where he's just so convinced, and like the only joy in his life is this delusion. And again, every time he's awakened to the truth, it's going to get worse. Like, had Norman accepted what Dylan was saying, it might have gotten even worse.
Right, exactly.
Like, for all we know, he could have been living in an endless loop of one happy moment. For all we know, it could have gotten that bad.
Which is exactly how we kind of speculated the series would end for the long time.
Catatonia, I always kind of called catatonia, which, we
Right.
So again, that probably would have been the inevitable, like the last outcome would have been catatonia, if not like one loop, then it would have been he's dead, he's just muscle dead. Mm-hmm. So again, basically as we're now, I love how this show is always played with expectation, much like Psycho. And basically, enter your heart goes out for Dylan. Like, things are boiled to the
another
emotional
show that we love. Just saying.
Things have boiled to the emotional head. I mean, Dylan, and the most heartbreaking, Emmy-worthy thing of this whole scene is probably when Dylan was just screaming, I don't know what I want for you.
Right.
I want this to happen. I want again. Oh God, Terriot again. You earned the Emmy. Can't they co-sign an Emmy? Let them co-sign. Let's just get an Emmy with 2 figures on it, and they'll share and they'll take it on weekends. Okay, they both
It's like little kid Dylan and little kid Norman just holding hands and skipping along.
Yeah. So, or they're on the bike. They're on the bike.
Oh god, the tandem bicycle.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was thinking the motorcycle, but the tandem one's funnier. So let's go with that. Okay. So again, seriously, it's like again, your heart goes out for Dylan because he wants to go back to when things were like this.
Right.
Oh my goodness, we're all together and off to get the tree.
God.
Again, I like that
We
they
get a
mentioned
lot of mileage out of that clip.
I also like that they mentioned Christmas in the end, just to harken back to the end of season 4 about Crazy Minutes. I wanted to have Christmas.
Right. They do. Yeah.
Okay, so and of course the mention of what Norman expects Dylan to do with them, which would be an institution, which, as we know,
You mean an institution? A madhouse?
not ideal at all. Not ideal in the slightest. Going to the institution because Dylan doesn't know what to do with them. And again, here's the kind of the great subversion. Again, as we said, going through, we always expected it to kind of end like this. Ever since the beginning of the show, we've always expected the ending to be this.
It's sad when a mother has to speak the words and condemn her own son. I couldn't allow them to believe that I would commit murder. They put him away now, as I should have years ago. He was always bad, and in the end he intended to tell them I killed those girls and that man, as if I could do anything except just sit and stare, like one of his stuffed birds. They know I can't even move a finger, and I won't. I'll just sit here and be quiet, just in case they do suspect me. They're probably watching me. Well, let them see what kind of a person I am. I'm not even going to sweat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. And they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
So as much as we've prolonged it, and again, basically, folks, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to this next part. The next two sequences, I can't promise.
We can do it. We can do it, Dragon. We're on a good trajectory time-wise. All right, we got this. We got this.
Okay, I'm gonna try to power through it. So let's see. I guess basically now we're entering the actual.
It's like ripping off a Band-Aid.
So now, because this ending gets me every time I watch it. I mean, it's I don't know. If, the point is, we're reaching the actual ending here. So. The actual come unfortunately did not turn out the way we were expecting. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying it did not turn out that way. So now we got an even more befitting end for this show. So again, after the "if you believe hard enough" argument, there's a moment of pause. The brothers are contemplating their stances.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically, again, like after they've kind of reached the boiling point of like, what. I don't know what to do with you, and it's just like, again, the both brothers are there at the complete point. Again, so well shot. Like one brother's in the back, one Norman's in the foreground, and they're in a kitchen. Which, let's remember, last time they were in the kitchen, that's when Dylan almost died.
A lot of bad stuff goes down in that kitchen.
A lot of full circle stuff too. So I love that.
Sure.
And of course, the reason, again, symbolically, the kitchen's always a dangerous place. Again, also Norman was raped in that kitchen too. I mean, a lot of horrible stuff happens in that kitchen. You're right, but again, kitchen, home of the knife. So Norman, oh boy! Before we break down, we're just gonna let it play. All right?
Yeah, we can do it. Go ahead.
All right. Grabs a knife, and the tragedy unfolds.
What are you doing? I can't let you take me away from her. I'm gonna put down the knife. This is how it ends, isn't it? Doesn't have to end as we put the knife down. I just want to be with her, Dylan. Don't ask me to do this.
Oh boy. So the death of Norman Bates. So where shall it begin? Where shall we begin? Well, I guess first and foremost we should say this. I'm sure I'm trying to think should we add this somberly or hilariously? What are you feeling, somber?
Yeah, I'm feeling somber. Yeah.
Okay, somber.
Just for a night. Because I'm so sad. Come on, you silly woman.
We'll never hear him say that again.
Nope.
That's somber. Now hilarious. Now save it for after we talk about it. So, oh boy, I
really like how they included this is how it ends in the promo. That was a good sort of promo bait right there.
And again, a great line, just kind of assessing their destinies here. And again, I get the coin ready because I think it might be the last one I make during the season here, the series. It's a very Killing Joke-esque moment after they assess where they're at with each other. That moment of like Dylan cutting through the madness, just kind of laying it out to him, like I don't know what to do. Like just trying turn yourself in. He's coming to him, just begging him to kind of step out of his madness. I feel like
in this moment, even Dylan's realizing like turning Norman in isn't really an option at this point.
You see what I mean, though, right? It's just kind of that moment.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
that acknowledgement, then that moment of pause before they accept their destinies as they do. Mm-hmm. So again, as it goes, as what we did not see, folks, as what we saw in the episode, we can't show you in audio. After he says this, how it ends. Again, just so wonderfully phrased. I just want to be with her, Dylan. Norman's begging Norman, Norman, don't ask me to do this.
And I definitely think Norman is kind of at this point, like he wants to die. You know what I mean? Like, Dylan sort of pulled him out of the fantasy at this point, and he's just like, he's sort of like everything's sort of hitting him, and he's just looking for any way out. At least that's how I read it.
End of season 4. Again, the minute he found out, he tried to kill himself.
Exactly.
And you're right. So some people have interpreted this in a few ways, and we got some what the actors thought of it too. So I'm kind of coming with it where the actors come from. Basically, it boils down to this. Based on that really powerful dialogue before the end, is they're really like, I just want to be with her, Dylan. And then Dylan saying, don't ask me to do this, ask me, implying that this, like, they know what they're asking of each other. That's what I took away from it.
Exactly. Right.
Norman charges, there's the gunshot, and now importantly, the knife is to the left, or to the side of Dylan's head. And that implies that Dylan knew what he was asking him to, and basically him charging at Dylan was the motivation to make sure that he did it, whether he wanted to or not. And that's because he had no intention of actually. I viewed it that Norman had no intention of actually killing Dylan. That's why the knife was to the side of his head. That's why.
Sure.
And we could, I could be wrong, maybe, because I feel if Mother was there, then there'd be an argument. But now Mother's not there, so I absolutely don't think Norman would ever want to.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah.
I was saying some people are kind of like, did Dylan kill for survival, or was he putting Norman out of his misery? I'm on the putting him out of his misery, but again, reluctantly. That's kind of where I'm coming at. So again, I'm then just Dylan again holding Norman in his arms. I did call something again. I called a few things this season, but not the way I intended them to come out. I always feared it was going to be brother dying in brother's arm.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think the Romero thing you called pretty much beat by beat.
Well, yeah, sure. I'm just saying since, not the beginning, but since I've always called Dylan's death in a similar manner, of like Dylan dying in Norman's arms. So I call the brother dying in the brother's arms.
Isn't it funny that, like, one of the few characters to walk away from the show unscathed is the one
who never existed in mythology.
Yes, and the one who we were convinced was going to die in season 2. The one
who we started the whole checkout odds for.
Exactly.
But again, he came really close, though.
Oh God.
So again, Dylan. So again, it's the dying and it's so sad, just Norman dying in Dylan's arms, and him just saying, him just saying, "I'm sorry, Norman. I'm sorry." Just oh God, it's so heartbreaking. And then this is the part where it's going to be really difficult.
We can do it. We can do it, man. We can do it. Come on.
So Norman dies. As Norman dies, he's basically kind of had the life flashing before the eyes. In his mental state is you called this the vision of Norman running in the woods to his heaven, which is in the arms of his mother, all in white, having in a bright light. And the bit that gets me is that as Norman runs, again, the music plays. So I got a little
flash to him as a little kid.
Just the intercutting of him as a little kid. Yes. Yeah. Just Oh, it's him as the little boy, because he's always been perpetually the little boy. He's the Peter Pan. He's never grew up, and he's again. It's like he's the final. It's like it's not only just the vision. It's his final hallucination in Dylan's arms. The final kind of. It's the final hallucination. Then just the line that just. I wrote my notes, and I wrote a little like a frowny face with a teardrop on it for this scene. Just the whole. As Norman says thank you to his brother, because again his brother has given him what he wanted to be with his mother. Right. With his mother forever, even though it pained his brother, he kind of brought again of mice and men. He kind of gave him what he needed there. He kind of put him out of his misery. That's the ultimate. And then we have the ultimate tragedy shot of probably the most perfect shot in the series, possibly. As we see. Again, just the tragedy shot of Norman in Dylan's arms, and Vera Farmiga. This is actually Vera Farmiga as the corpse in all these scenes.
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned that. And
sometimes
all the finale, like the whole time you see her corpse, it's her. It's actually Vera Farmiga on set.
See, occasionally they have a prosthetic corpse, but in all the scenes they shot with her here, like when she's in the snow, that's her in the snow for most shots. And here, this is all Farmiga in this last.
Which is so
scene here.
To me that makes it like even creepier.
Can we give her an Emmy for? Is there an Emmy for corpse acting? I'm saying she has one over Cranston on that one, because believe me, Cranston wasn't convincing enough.
I'm gonna count that.
Anyway, so but again, just that tragedy shot of like in the mother and the two broken boys in the background. Oh, beautiful, outstanding shot, just truly.
Sure.
And then we get the body is Dylan out in the staircase. The body is both bodies on. I presume both bodies on top of each other are kind of carried down those steps one final time, and then the bit where I'm convinced they did this. It's like they read my mind or something. I've been listening to this song. I'm really liking this song from Doris Day, "Dream a Little Dream." It's a really nice, catchy song, and then they play that as the most I was weeping when they played that in the episode. Oh god, it's just truly weeping. Again, it's like I wasn't like streaming down the face. It was like you got me like making the crying sounds. Like, oh god, so beautiful. Right. Dream a Little Dream, and then Green finds Romero's body. Like, oh, there's Romero. And again, it's like the idea with Romero's the head upon with all of them is that everyone who truly loves Norma dies. That's definitely. The dies broken.
Well, I mean, with the exception of Dylan and Emma.
Well, I mean, romantically, too.
Okay, yeah, romantically, sure.
I'm saying romantic. I'm saying that sense. It's it's kind of it's the Romeo Juliet thing. They're all kind of
yeah, totally.
Anyway, so then the motel's being sold.
Yeah, and I love how it's at a reduced price.
Yeah, because again, it was always a bad investment, but Norma didn't care.
And Norman and Norma certainly didn't make that bad investment any more of a bad investment, any less of a bad investment. I cannot imagine the headache it would be trying to run that motel after all this.
Okay, so before I'm completely emotion shared, I gotta get some levity. I gotta infuse some levity. So again, just the reaction to the whole to the death of everything.
Surprise!
Okay, that's a little boost there, and secondly, just to acknowledge it before we forget about it. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so then here's the bit. Okay, then we see Emma and a few years have passed, and a grown Kate skipping along, and then Kate runs to Dylan's arms, and like Dylan's getting the life he wanted. But here's the bit that the bit that broke me, that Kate looks like Norma.
Yes, she does. Yeah,
she looks like a little Norma with the blonde hair. Oh God! And then then we get the shot, and I called this shot. I called ending on this shot.
Oh, you did.
Oh God, we have the Bates tombstone. And again, it's so brilliant that they basically told us how everything was going to end, but the fact that there was it's like the gun on the table, and in the third act someone gets shot rule. It's like we saw the tombstone at the beginning of this season, so we knew we should have known that Norman was going to die. But they did such a good job convincing us and playing on we know how Psycho ends, that in the end Norman from 1990 something, 98 maybe.
It's 95.
95, right?
Yeah.
1995 to. Oh God, your Toy Story's made. I'm sorry. Okay, 95.
I'm sorry, that's great. That's great. Toy Story makes you emotional all over again. I love it.
From 95 to 2017, the music ends, and just the message of Norman. It's just Norman's going to be with Norma forever, buried alongside her body, restored in the resting place. It's like the truly tragic, yet again, it's the romantic end. They wanted things to change, and like now it's changed. It's a dark happy ending. But my God, is it a beautiful ending?
We did it, Dragon. We did it. We did it.
What an ordeal.
Oh man. Okay, folks. So we have just a few things to go. Drag. We have the blackouts, the in memoriam.
Well, real quick.
Yeah.
Let's hear what Vera Farmiga has to say about the finale.
Ending is hopeful, but at the same time, that kid is going to grow up with questions one day. What was Granny like?
And of course, just on playing Norma as a whole.
Am I going to miss playing Norma? I played the shit out of her.
Yes, she did. Okay, let's fire off a few categories here. So with blackouts.
Yeah, let's get to blackouts.
So here's what I'm coming down on the blackouts, folks. I'm coming down on it as I figure it's 2 because there's a stage 1 blackout when he sees Mother for a final time saying goodbye. It's a stage 1 blackout mode. And then, of course, for the rest of the episode, he's in stage 5. So again, on the whole, 2 blackouts.
Sounds about right. So that's two blackouts, Dragon, making for a grand total of 30 blackouts for season 5.
I think it's the most blackouts we've gotten in a season, to be quite honest.
Easily. Yeah.
So by the way, Tiki, now here's the thing I kind of realized we forgot at the very beginning. So I'm hoping that this thing you've been writing the whole time is what I've been thinking of.
The tombstone, yes.
Yes, good man. All right. So
I got all your instructions and everything.
You did good. Because I was thinking like kicking myself at the beginning. Okay, folks, we're all good. So before we go through the jars, I was thinking we do a little in memoriam segment. So Tiki, show the folks so it's prepped and ready.
Yeah, I do not have the last 2 names.
Good. So let's show them as it is right now.
Okay, as is right now, folks. Here it is. Do you like how I have the 2013 to 2017 Dragon? Do you like that touch?
That's nice.
All right.
That's nice. So let's see. Just trying to. I have music to go along with it, so not vocalized music. So I think we're gonna be safe. So it's like it's played music. Anyway, points. We're gonna do a little memoriam thing. We're like we usually like to do at the end of seasons. We in this case series.
Mm-hmm.
Tiki is going to, in memoriam fashion, he's going to read off the names. And, of course, we're adding the final 2 names of the episode here. You'll notice Craig Edwards is on there. We don't want an in memoriam fiasco. There we go. we don't want an in memoriam fiasco like at the Oscars here and there. So just to clarify, Greg Edwards was presumed dead, and it's really, because we didn't get any ruling on it, it's pretty safe to assume Norman killed him.
But there is a question mark there, just in case.
Yes, to cover ourselves. So, Tiki, just tell me when you're ready, and I'm
ready, my friend. Let's do it.
Okay, so again, we'll see. I'm gonna turn it down a smidge just to maybe cover us a little. But again, there's no vocal, there's no words. So yeah. Okay. So folks, in memoriam, the people we've lost. Bates Motel, 2013 to 2017. Okay.
We say goodbye, folks, to Sam Bates, Keith Summers, Jerry Martin, Ethan Chang, Tweaker, God bless Tweaker, Zach Shelby, the 2 J's, Judo and Jow. Actually, make that 3 J's because we have Jake Abernathy. And we have Blair Watson. Who's B? We have Gil Turner, followed by Lee Berman, the Dick. And then we have the god of pleasantries himself, Mr. Nick Ford. God bless his soul. We have the Wonder Twins, Nick. We have the Wonder Twins, Zane and Jody Morgan. Norman and Dylan's grandmother, Francine Calhoun. We have Lindsay Davis. We have Annika Johnson, both of them very nice girls. We have Marcus Young. We have Bob Paris. We have Bradley Martin, the original not-so-nice girl herself. And so sad, we have Norma Louise Bates. We also have the questionable exit of Greg Edwards. We have Jim Blackwell. God bless his soul. You know, hitmen have feelings too, people. Have Caleb Calhoun. We have Mr. David Davidson. I won't even give him the pleasure of saying his real name. Just David Davidson is on the tombstone.
Yeah, burn.
Of course, we have the enigmatic Charles Chick Hogan. We have Alex Romero and the man of the hour, Mr. Norman Bates. All right, every single person who died on Bates Motel. Let me count them, Dragon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 20, 29 deaths. 29 deaths on Bates Motel. All right.
Wow. By the way, I was just going to notice that we were so lucky because the minute you wrapped up was the minute the song ended.
Nice. I kind of noticed that every time I was talking, it was like completely drowning out the song, so that's why I was kind of giving it a few pauses here and there.
Right. Okay. No, well, that was the Dream a Little Dream on piano.
Of course.
Folks. That's just in case you're wondering why. So.
Okay, so the Jars Dragon.
Yes, so let's get a ruling on like how we did this season.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
Okay, let's start because I'm in a Better Call Saul mood. Let's start with Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Okay, let's do it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. It's always awkward having to fill out the space when I'm counting. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 28 Breaking Bad references.
Yeah.
All right. Where to next?
How about some Nice Girl?
Nice Girl. Okay.
You're keeping track of the number, right? So 28 for Breaking Bad?
I didn't know it was really necessary, but I will write it down.
I'm saying so we can say at the end, like, which one had which.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Breaking Bad. 28. Okay. All right. Nice Girl is 1, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. One more than Breaking Bad. Nice Girls at 29.
That's a close one. That was a close one.
Yes. All right. Okay, what next?
Pleasantries, of course.
Pleasantries. All right. Pleasantries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 35 for Pleasantries.
Okay.
So a bit ahead of Breaking Bad and Nice Girls.
Okay, let's
Might I suggest we save young Bruce Wayne for last?
Well, shouldn't we? Well, we'd have a smooth transition if we save the other one for last.
That is true. That is very true.
Let's do it's the young Bruce Wayne.
Okay, I have a feeling this is going to run away with it.
Most likely, yes.
Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Oh, most definitely. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. 45. Oh, yeah. Young Bruce Wayne is definitely the victor here. I do like how it's a bit more even than in seasons past, though.
True, true.
Because if I remember correctly, like, wasn't Breaking Bad like ridiculously ahead of everyone else?
Yeah,
a couple seasons. Like, wasn't it like 75 for Breaking Bad or something like that?
Well, you gotta remember, season 2 was the drug stuff, so of course it was gonna be high in that one.
Okay, and finally Norman. This one is going to be pretty easy to count because basically we kept on adding just one per episode for the most part.
Yeah, but we're going to make up for that, though, in a minute.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We're only at 10 for Norman, so we only made one reference that wasn't outside of the obligatory one at the end. Right.
So well, just for our next little thing we're about to do here, just these aren't. We're not counting.
You sure you don't want to? We're not going to do this at the very end. Oh wait, no. Yeah, you have something for the very end. Okay.
Yeah. So
let's fill the Norman jar one more time, Dragon.
Okay, well you gotta. Okay, well just for the heck of it. All right, folks. So what we're gonna do is because we lost our title character, and it was a sad occasion, and he will be missed. Very much in the fashion of we had a requiem for a Hogan. Now we're gonna have a moment for our troubled lad. And the only way, basically, it's like if we believe hard enough, Norman may come back to life, just in the vein of the original Peter Pan of the play. If we believe hard enough, I believe in Norman Bates. Maybe he'll come back. If only we had some beloved angelic figure that is somehow represented visually in our set right now. If only we had some. There we go. If only we had some beloved angelic figure to kind of call for him, like the Tinkerbell in our hearts. If only. Luckily, we do. And here, for your viewing pleasure, folks, is every single, as far as I can find,
I still can't believe you did this. This is impressive legwork on your end, man.
And of course, the one standard is that it has to be like calling for Norman. So with that in mind, this is every instance in which Norma calls for Norman. Here we go. It's going to be a bittersweet goodbye.
That was fun. I can get used to it. Norman, is that you?
No, they're coming too fast.
So, with the exception of the beginning and the end, those are all in chronological order, by the way.
Okay, nice.
So let's hear a few words from the from the cast, basically to sandwich our final thoughts here. So
all right.
let's open with kind of a fun sentiment they have about it. They basically did a special, folks, and you can watch this on the website or
I've been meaning to
something.
watch this. Yeah.
They did. They basically did like a really nice little half-hour tribute to kind of the whole series. Like, they finally kind of talked about the origins and stuff. Really nice. It was a little something like this. They're talking about kind of like the emotional wrap-up of it all, like how it struck them. Mainly struck Highmore.
Everybody was very emotional about the show coming to an end. I think maybe Freddie. God, he whined about it for weeks, for like the last 3 weeks. I can't believe it's I can't believe it.
Just love the hilarity of that.
God.
So I got a nice little heartwarming kind of thing to kind of usher us out. So let's get into our final thoughts. Just on the series, as everything.
All right, can I go first?
Yes, go first. I'm sure you're going to bring up do you have your thing per word or no?
My thing per word?
Well, I'm saying the Facebook thing.
Oh, you know what? I was meaning to do that, but I never got. I'm just gonna wing it, Dragon.
All right, wing it. Go
right?
wild, man. It's the last one. Go wild. Do it live.
Well, folks, 4 years ago, my good friend BlueDragonFive here introduced me to a show, and I watched through the whole first season in a weekend. And little did I know it'd be the, kind of the gateway into BlueDragonFive and I doing these recap shows, but Bates Motel has been far more than this, a show that I've covered for a podcast. It has been the true replacement for Breaking Bad in my heart. It has been a roller coaster of emotions. It has been a cavalcade of in-jokes and fun times and also heartbreak and drama. And as we say goodbye, folks, I just hope that one day maybe I'll travel to Oregon someday and see a hotel off the freeway. And I'll go in and I'll see a smiling young lad at the counter, and I'll hear his mother singing as she makes dinner for him up at the creepy hotel on the hill. And I'll know, just as Chick Hogan knew, that this was a special place. This was a haunted place, but a special kind of haunted. And I'll say goodbye to Bates Motel just as we did. And thank you, Carlton Hughes, Karen Aaron, Vera Farmiga, Freddie Highmore, Max Terriot, Olivia Cook. Oh, God, Ryan Hurst. It gets complicated when I get into the supporting cast.
British Columbia.
Nestor Carbonell, of course. Thanks to everyone for making the series what it was. Thanks for 5 years of awesome entertainment. Cheers to whatever the cast and crew does next. It was a fun ride. All right. You see, okay. I would have had the whole, I had this whole idea of, me reminiscing about going to Oregon and, the boy behind the counter and the mother. And I swear to God, it would have been a lot more well-worded if I would have actually taken the time to, write it out. But I winged it, man. What can you do? Anyways.
So I just, going from the episode then to the series, honestly, this to me was probably the most moving episode of Bates Motel for me. This one truly did. I mean, it got me more worked up than Winter Soldier's ending. I gotta tell you. Yeah, that's saying something. I mean, look, I always get kind of a little glassy-eyed eyes, like an instinct for Winter Soldier. This one really broke me. Every time I rewatch, oh God, the minute Doris Day plays. Oh God, it's just that basically the little girl is Norma Bates. Oh God, it's Norma again. Oh, it really gets me. So this show, as my colleague said, this show filled the Breaking Bad void with its quality, its writing, its performances, and its uniqueness. It honors Psycho and Hitchcock in that it could have been like anything we've seen before on TV. It could have been like anything we've seen on TV with TV drama, which can range from good to bad. And again, it could have just been not reinventing the wheel. It could be like any TV drama that has a movie gimmick of, hey, remember it's based on a movie. Mm-hmm. But no, it did what Hitchcock did with Psycho, by being, by how it defied expectation, how it subverted us at every turn. It made us fall in love with its characters. It hopefully, in the grand scheme, hopefully making it as iconic as the 1960 film was. one day in the future, maybe. If not now, then definitely one day in the future. I'm sure. Like after the finale's there, I'm sure people are going to definitely be checking out the show now. It's like in the climate we live in today, people binge things like crazy. I'm sure once the 5th season's on
this
Netflix,
is an incredibly bingeable show.
Every ending is always, it never ends on kind of just a kind of like, okay, well, it's just a generic end. It always ends on a like, you gotta watch the next one.
Sure.
And again, it may even go down in the history books for all we know. Again, it's like a kind of a series that may go down in the history books as something in itself. Like, this is how you do TV drama. This is how you make it interesting, make it different than anything we've seen before. This is how you rival Breaking Bad, folks. I think Hitchcock would be proud. It's one of the finest prequel tragedies. And they're all the rage right now, because again, Tiki and I, a lot of the shows we talk about, of course, are prequels in some capacity. Of course, Gotham and Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Certainly, again, the kind of the prequel story is all the rage. And this one was a prequel a prequel romanticized tragedy, as I like to call it. It was 5 years of excellent and compelling storytelling of the quote Alfred Hitchcock, "the boy who dug up his own mother."
Right.
And boy, was it a ride that I don't think we're going to forget anytime soon. And here's a little thank you from the cast. So it's kind of like a little thank you for our time, but also a little thank you to all the fans out there. So I thought it was a nice thing. And then we'll get to our final goodbye. So here we go, folks. A little thank you from everyone we care about.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much. Sweet dreams. Thanks for being with the show since day one. All the best. Thank you. Thank you.
And remember, folks, unless you have anything to say, Tiki.
No, go ahead.
Remember, folks, as wacky and wild a ride as it has been, as psychotic, one could say, probably drives to be a psycho. Remember, let's not cast aspersions on someone because they're different. Let's not cast aspersions on someone because they've dug up their own mother. We must always remain vigilant of this one true fact of life, of this one true word of wisdom from a truly great man, whom without, along with Hitchcock, we have no psycho, we have no Bates Motel, we have no performance of which Freddie Highmore can kind of emulate.
We all go a little mad sometimes.